When you think of the epic poem Beowulf, you probably picture its hero, right? This warrior with superhuman strength, slaying one terrifying monster after another. And of course, the most famous is Grendel. But after Beowulf deals with him, he has to face an even bigger threat, Grendel's mother. But what if I told you the monster we all think we know isn't actually a monster at all?
And that's really the heart of the puzzle we're digging into. The popular image of Grendel's mother, this hideous beast, or maybe a seductive demon, it's super powerful, but it is a world away from what the original, thousand-year-old poem actually describes. So let's unpack how a powerful warrior got this monstrous reputation. Okay, first, let's just run through the story most of us are familiar with, the one that really paints her as the villain. This is the version that kind of sets the stage for everything else.
So picture this. The great mead hall, Heorot, is just roaring with celebration. For 12 long years, Grendel terrorized this place, and now he's gone. Beowulf is getting showered with treasure, and Grendel's actual arm is hanging from the ceiling like a gruesome party decoration. The nightmare, it seems, is finally over. But later that night, when everyone's asleep, a new horror comes out of the swamp. It's Grendel's mother, and she is absolutely furious over her son's death. Her attack is fast, it's brutal, and it's terrifying. She storms the hall, grabs the king's best friend, and just vanishes back into the night, leaving everyone in shock and grief.
And her home? It's a place straight out of a nightmare. A magical lake where the water supposedly burns like acid and the surface is crawling with sea monsters and demons. It's a realm of pure evil, totally alien to the world of men.
Of course, for a guy like Beowulf, this is just another Tuesday. He dives right into these demonic waters, and it takes him almost an entire day just to sink to the bottom, all while being attacked by sea beasts on his way down to her lair.
Down at the bottom, she yanks him into her underwater battle hall. And this is where Beowulf realizes he might be in over his head. His legendary sword can't even leave a scratch on her. He tries to wrestle her like he did with Grendel, but no way. She's faster, stronger, and she's on her home turf. For the very first time, Beowulf is actually losing.
Just when it looks like it's all over, he sees this ancient, enormous sword on the wall, a weapon forged by giants. With the last of his strength, he grabs it and lands the killing blow. He swims back up, holding her head as a trophy, and the kingdom goes wild. A classic monster-slaying story, right?
Well, this is where the story we think we know starts to fall apart. That action movie version is great, but it leaves out some of the most important details. So let's go back to the original Old English poem and see who she really was. Just look at the words the poem uses. It's not subtle. Grendel is called a demon, an enemy from hell. He's clearly a supernatural evil. But his mother? She's described as a warrior, an avenger, even a powerful lady. The poem isn't talking about a mindless beast here. It's describing a formidable human opponent. And this is where it gets really mind-bending. She has incredible strength and can breathe underwater, but so can Beowulf. Her skin can't be pierced by normal swords, just like his armor protects him. In a lot of ways, they are mirror images of each other. So you have to ask, why is he the celebrated hero while she's the monster for having the exact same powers?
To really understand her actions, we have to completely drop the monster label and start thinking about her based on the rules of her world, the world of the Anglo-Saxons.
In that society, her attack wasn't some random act of evil, it was her duty. When someone in your family was killed, you were culturally and even legally obligated to get revenge.
See, they had this whole system called the blood feud. It was a huge part of their social fabric. If a relative was murdered, you had two choices: kill the murderer or a member of their family of equal status, or live in shame forever. So think about it. Her son's arm is hanging in his killer's hall. By the laws of her own time, she had absolutely no choice but to strike back.
And look at how she does it. Grendel was just chaos. He killed randomly for over a decade. His mother's attack is surgical. It's strategic. She kills one person, the king's most trusted advisor, a target of equal value to her son, and then she leaves. She isn't on a rampage. She's balancing the scales. She's acting like a ruler carrying out a lawful feud. In fact, the poem says she ruled her own lands for 50 years.
So if the original poem paints her as a warrior queen, acting completely within her rights, how on earth did she become the monster we know today? Well, the answer is in centuries of translation and, frankly, bias.
This is so fascinating because it shows how a few specific word choices just completely stripped away her humanity. Take the Old English term agliac whiff. It gets translated all the time as monster woman, but what it really means is something closer to female warrior or fearsome woman. Mortar is just the word for mother, but translators often change it to dam, a word you'd use for an animal. Every single choice pushes her further away from being human.
So what's really going on here, her true monstrosity wasn't that she had claws or scales. It was that she was a woman with real power in a man's world. She was a ruler, a warrior, someone who couldn't be easily controlled or defined. And so, over the centuries, she was rewritten into a monster.
And this twisting of her story didn't stop in the medieval period. Modern adaptations have pretty much taken this monstrous image and just run with it, cementing it in our heads.
I mean, just look at this timeline. She's either some hideous creature or she's a hypersexualized seductress, like the infamous shape-shifting Angelina Jolie version. In almost every single modern telling, her role as a justified ruler is completely erased. She becomes something to be killed or something to be desired, but never a person. Always a monster.
This view is so widespread that even J.R.R. Tolkien, maybe the most important Beowulf scholar ever, basically just dismissed her. In his famous, game-changing analysis of the poem, he frames the main villains as Grendel and the dragon and calls Grendel's mother nothing more than an appendix to her son's story. He completely misses the fact that she is, by far, the more complex and powerful antagonist.
So Grendel's mother wasn't born a monster, she was made one. She was made one by translators, by artists, and by scholars who just couldn't fit a powerful female warrior into their worldview. She was a ruler, acting heroically by the standards of her own people. And that really leaves us with one final big question. If a story this foundational can be so completely misunderstood, how many other monsters from our history books and our myths are just people whose stories were told by the ones who defeated them?